episode 53. I hope it's 53. Our guest, I guess, because it's both of us, he is a musician. Saudy Familia. Hello.
Hey, how you doing, man? How you doing, guys?
Hey, what's up?
Happy to be here.
Are you?
I am actually. I even came in early.
There you go. Yeah, some might say a little bit too early.
Oh yeah.
We're unprofessional. I mean, we didn't start saying no for last week, so sorry about that.
That's
but we are here, and tell us a little about yourself. What do you do?
Oh, so at the moment, I'm a songwriter and composer, but I'm also a pianist and a drummer. That's usually the things that I go by, and I always have to make different business cards because I'm always switching up different stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I'm a songwriter, composer, drummer, and pianist.
Mm-hmm. And I think it was reading that you started when you were 4, just making music, right?
Yes, at the age of 4, from what I can recall, I was a singer in the Dominican Republic. My real father, he was a singer, a pianist as well. He played in a couple of groups when I was growing up, and he used to take me and my sister to the studio. He used to make songs, and then we'd have to sing it. So from a very young age, I was already being trained as a singer. I got gifted a piano when I was like 2 or 3 years old as well. So I had a piano there, but it was mainly singing when I was 4.
Gotcha. And I think I also read that you went to Berkeley for drums.
Yeah, I went to Berkeley as a drummer. Yeah. That was what I auditioned with. But I went there to be a music educator at first. Yeah.
Why the sort of switch from education to just performing?
Well, I was mentioning to him earlier, I went to the Introduction to Music Education class my first semester, and I remember the music teacher there, he said, in this course, you're either going to love teaching or you're going to hate teaching. You know? By the middle of it, I was like, I cannot stand this course. I like teaching, but I don't think I want to pursue teaching. In the back of my mind, I always was a writer and a composer when I was younger, you know, not like as a title, but I always did it.
Right.
So I was like, well, I'm at Berkeley. They have a lot of things to offer, so let me switch my major to contemporary writing and production, which there I became an arranger. I learned more theory, and I learned how to write scores and lyrics as well.
Oh, that's so nice, yeah, definitely. Just like movie, kind of like writing scores is definitely something that like I don't have experience in, but it's definitely its like own realm, and like it's definitely interesting. Like, have you ever written like a score for like anybody or?
No, I have never written a score for anybody. Yeah. I did for a time write scores for myself, you know, and I did get a couple of requests from people like, well, they wanted to use my song, one of the jazz songs that I released in 2016, to use for film. So I kind of got lucky that I didn't need to write a score. Right. He just wanted like, yo, I like this song. Can we put it for this little short film that I'm doing for a festival? And I'm like, yeah, go ahead and do it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, because I feel like when people make scores for music, it's sort of like different in the sense where you're not really, I guess, using so much of your emotions and your thoughts. You're really just trying to convey what they want to convey. You know what I mean? So it's definitely sort of different that way.
It is kind of different. And the other night I was watching the Miles Davis documentary on Netflix, and there was a clip where he needed to write, you know, do some trumpet stuff for a film, and he had like a big screen in front of him, and he was just standing there with the trumpet, trying to feel what, you know, the actor was doing. So you kind of have to be on another person's vision, so you can portray your own vision as well.
I want to touch base on a story I saw you talk about on Instagram, just because, you know, me being me, I like being sort of the stalker with, you know, people we have on. And I think it was a really cool story where, like, you were saying there was a big show that you were doing, right? And I think that at the rehearsal, you were a bit behind on the drums, right? And then a bassist called you out on it or something like that, right? So tell us a little about the story. I think it's really, really cool.
Yeah. So I grew up, you know, in my middle school and high school that I went to. It's called Washington Heights Expeditionary Learning School. I was there as a drummer. You know, that's what I was learning. That's what I was doing. Specifically jazz drumming, jazz and jazz drumming. And well, this is gonna go a bit more back than so we can get to that point.
More content.
You know, there's a program in New York called Jazz at Lincoln Center, right? That's where we went to my Salsa and his orchestra phase. They also have a middle school academy that I used to audition for back when I was younger. My middle school had an outreach program with them. So every single year, our teachers would try to prepare the students, us, to audition and see if we could get into that middle school academy, because it will, prepare us to become better musicians.
Right.
So I remember in 6th grade, I worked my ass off just trying to level, my drumming, and it was my first year playing drums, 6th grade. So I'm I'm doing my thing, I get a call back, I'm hyped, I do the second audition, I didn't make it, right? And I wanted to quit drums, just quit. I was like, I don't want to do this, I'm trash, blah, blah, blah. But I still kept going, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, I still did drumming, that's what I did at school. And then going forward to 11th grade, they made a high school program. So that other one was just a middle school program. They made a high school program called the Jazz and Lincoln Center Youth Orchestra.
You saw that as your second chance.
Exactly. So I remember my teacher said it's a good opportunity. Why don't you, practice and so you could get on it. So I remember every single day that this was 11th grade. I would practice every day. I quit the baseball team because I used to be in the varsity team, then the junior varsity team. I quit baseball, I quit newspaper, I quit cross country, I quit everything, every extracurricular. So after school, I could go and practice. He used to let me stay until like 4, 5 p.m., 6 p.m., just practicing. Everybody else is gone, I'm there practicing. So I worked my ass off to get in there, and I auditioned. I think I did very good. My music teacher stressed, even though you're a drummer, it's good to know theory, because those drummers that know theory usually tend to have more opportunities after a while. So I put that in priority as well. And it was also part of the audition process. Started reading big band music, jazz music, knowing scales, this and that.
Even for drummers? Even for drummers to know like all that music theory and it's like I said, it's not like every drummer has to do it. Right.
But I always had the interest, and that's where I kind of got left out because even though I was a drummer, I always wanted to learn piano stuff and theory. So around that time I knew a bit, just basic, and I was able to demonstrate that in the audition process. And as you know, a couple of months later, I got the letter saying that I got in. So I was very happy. I'm like, wow. Out of like a bunch of drummers, I was able, in the whole tri-state area, not just New York, I was able to get into this program, a prestigious program, with a, nice teacher, very well known. So I'm there, I'm doing my thing. I go every Sunday to the rehearsals. I know myself deep inside that I'm the weakest link.
Right.
I'm the weakest link in that whole big band of 21 people. So every single...
That motivated you.
It motivated me a lot because I didn't want to be the one holding the whole big band bag. And as a drummer, you gotta drive it.
Whiplash.
Yeah, you can't slow down. You can't speed up. You gotta be locked in the big band, right? But I never got that from the teachers. They never said anything. Vincent Gardner was such a bonus for this other Lincoln Center Orchestra. He was a director for the youth orchestra, and he did his thing, but he never went at it. Whiplash style, right? But
so you get slapped around too fast or too slow?
No.
Okay.
But the whole point of the whole orchestra was to prepare for a big show at Carnegie Hall, right? It was a whole full thing. Sean Jones was there. Jimmy Heath was there. Bela Hathaway was performing with us. A lot of people, were performing. And we were preparing this whole show. There was this one day that I got assigned to play a shuffle. And I was not that familiar with a shuffle. In fact, that was the same shuffle that I feel like that's the reason why I didn't get into the middle school one. Because my shuffle was not good in 6th grade. Now we're in 11th, 12th grade, and my shuffle was still so-so. Right, I was playing a lot of Latin music, so it's a lot of straight takes.
Right.
Taka, 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 but the taka, taka, taka. On the left hand, it was not there for me. I knew that. I practiced, but I was very slow with it.
Right.
There was this one day that director was there conducting, and I was slowing down. I was just dragging the whole song. You know, he counted the song like this, and next thing you know, I'm like, and I'm tired. My wrist is like, I'm done. I don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But every single time I turned to my right, the bass player was just looking at me, like just vibing, like what are you doing? You're slowing down. But he like was never encouraging around that time, you know? So the thing was that I slowed down so much that the bass player just stopped the whole band. That he was just like, I can't do this. Switch the drummer. I don't want basically Saudy playing the song, but he's dragging the whole thing. So it discouraged me. It completely discouraged me. But then, now that I'm thinking about, I know which post you're talking about. Because I posted that like 6 years later, like how him doing that motivated me after all these years. You know, around that time in 2014, I was furious. I was just like, I just want this whole program to end. I just want to finish with this. Mm-hmm. And around the time, I kind of did not like him. And the thing was that he also went to Berkeley. Mm-hmm. So then now I had to deal with him being there as well. So I was just like, I must separate myself.
Right.
But after a couple of years, I remember after he vibed me that day, I went the next day to school and I practiced my shuffle. So luckily in the big show, I did not slow down. So yeah.
That was one heck of a vibe check.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I read something like he just shouted like in the middle of the whole thing. Like, he just told everybody, hey, just cut it, and this guy slowed us down. Like,
yeah, I've never seen that, at least in my time in that youth orchestra, where a bandmate would just stop playing and make the whole band stop. It was also my first time ever experiencing that.
Right.
Now, after I went to Berkeley, I saw that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you want to make sure your song is right. But this was me, a guy from Washington Heights who's never played in a big band.
Right.
He's new to everything. So it was just like, they were not taking it easy. It was just like, yo, it is what it is.
Right.
You gotta step it up. And, you know, so that's a learning opportunity for myself. And until this day, I'm grateful that he did that.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody else did that in the orchestra. Everybody else was cool, you know, okay, well, but he went like, nah, you gotta.
I mean, they were just okay with you, fucking it up, basically.
Yeah.
Because they were being either too nice or they just didn't care.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. You know, I'm sure, obviously in the big bands, the director and the conductors always stopping people, making sure everything was cool. But directed towards me, the way that was happening, it was just like, whoa, it's a reality check.
Yeah. But I mean, that's caused you to make, I feel like that in itself made you make music that you're proud of now, right?
Oh, yeah. And, we're talking just about, drums around that time.
Mm-hmm.
Around that time, I really became in love with big band music, so I heard more big band music around that time. You gotta listen to the music that you're working towards to.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just like a little phase in my life. After that finished, I haven't played big band music ever since. So
you see that shit sometimes.
It's happening.
I think it'd be cool to sort of play a song of him right now. Like, what song do you want us to go play?
Sure. Pienso en Ti,
Okay.
which is a bossa nova from my first album. A lot of people seem to like that song. And it's very relaxing because that was what I was going for when I was writing that song. So just relax, sit down and just
vibe.
And just vibe, rainy day and everything,
There you go. Awesome. Play it.
That song, actually, Pienso en Ti, I wrote it freshman year of college. It was actually an assignment for a class. what was it? It was a harmony class. I had a harmony class at Berkeley, my first semester, and they said, oh, write this song with some secondary dominants and sub fives and stuff like that. So, I wrote down this simple melody, but I loved it. I loved it. At first, I named it in English, I Think About You, Bossa Nova, I Think About You. But then, after a year, I taught at Manhattan School of Music. I taught at the music program for the summer camp. And then I switched it to Spanish, just the title, just because. But yeah, that song literally was just an assignment for college that when I went again and I did the whole album, I was like, well, this song is beautiful. And the bossa nova, and then the pianist, her name is Yamashita, a Japanese pianist, and she killed it on the piano. So I was like, all right, she's gonna play the song, she's gonna do her stuff, and yeah, that's how it came about.
Pretty cool. Oh, my mic is not on. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I did that on purpose.
But yeah.
I used to do that in college too, but like now with music,
Yeah.
like an essay that I wrote in high school, I would just use for every assignment I could.
Words?
Yeah.
No plagiarism?
You can't plagiarize yourself, can you?
Technically, maybe, I don't know. Maybe you can, probably.
Maybe.
Well, I dropped out of college, so I doubt I can do anything.
Files.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I did on the Prezi, and that Googled my name once. And if you still Google my name, you'll still find a bunch of assignments that I did in like 2013 in high school, for like Prezi stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what?
That's so funny. But yeah, I mean, pertaining to your music, like we were just talking during the break, how like you've kind of had, I mean, I guess you can call it like a stylistic change, but like with your latest single, it's much more kind of like classic Latin music as to just straight up jazz.
Yeah.
So was it like a conscious decision, or were you just exploring the different range of your like own artistic freedom?
No, I've always wanted to do this song that I just released on July, Only You and Me. That's what I've always wanted to do since 2015. Like that was the main thing. In 2015, I released a song on SoundCloud. It's called the One I Want, and it's kind of like how do I say, like the blueprint to what I'm doing now. Female singer. It's an English, like Latin jazz salsa song that I've been wanting to do for a long time. But then in 2016, I had a whole bunch of jazz songs because I was arranging and I have a lot of stuff with Finale, charts written. And I'm like, wait, I'm here as a drummer, at Berkeley, but I don't really get called for gigs, rehearsals. I'm just here like a sitting duck, I'm not getting called. So let me make the opportunity myself. I have all these songs for a quartet, just 4 people. Let me make my own album, a whole jazz album that I could record in one day. I would need a bunch of different studio sessions, and I could do it. So I just released that jazz album around that time just to release it, so I could have work out there. But now I'm doing a lot of the salsa stuff, Some people call it like light salsa or like smooth salsa.
Why do people call it that?
Because the salsa that you hear today is like dancing music. I mean, you have the romantic salsa, but you can still hear like it's live, like you want to dance. Whereas my salsa is meant to just chill. Like you can just chill, listen to the rhythms, bop your head to it. Right. You can dance obviously to it because it's salsa. You always want to dance to it. But my intention is not really for you to start dancing. It's more like put it as a background music or put it on the radio. You can just chill, take a drive.
I want to make it to that playlist that like listen to while you study playlist, like those lo-fi hip hop.
Lo-fi hip hop speech to relax and study to.
I have a whole chill hop playlist, lo-fi,
that's cool.
that I've been making since 2016.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of songs. That's all I listen to. Every day I listen to smooth jazz, chill hop, and romantic ballads. And then I'm here making salsa.
Yeah.
So that's how like a lot of the influences come from chill hop, lo-fi, and I bring it over to that.
Every time I make the Latin trap.
Say that again?
Latin trap.
Latin trap.
Just completely just 360 and just do that.
No, I'm not that big into the trap genre. You know, I let those that know how to do that genre do it. Maybe in the future, you know, if I want to branch out to that, I will definitely be down. You know.
Maybe the Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny.
Well, Bad Bunny will be the main one. I actually did a salsa arrangement of one of Bad Bunny's songs.
Ooh, interesting.
Back in May.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a teaser, so people can be like, look, I'm making salsa.
It'll be your origin story, like he started
Origin
here,
story.
and then now he's the biggest Latin rap artist than ever.
Yeah, I just said like a simple
Yeah.
Latin track, you know, trap or hip hop track that he had.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm just gonna make a whole, I'm just gonna take that, put some horns to it, put some congas, and do the whole thing, you know.
So I mean, speaking of like your general influences and stuff like that. So like yeah. So what specifically are your like influences? And like a follow-up question to that is like,
Why is it working?
Let me finish. And a follow-up to that would be, you know, how do you think your music is going to evolve from like now? But like first starting off with your influences.
Yeah, my main influence is actually Brian McKnight. You know, I've been listening to Brian McKnight since.
Isn't he wait, is he a drummer?
No, he's an R&B singer.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's an R&B singer, 90s, 2000s.
Okay, yeah,
He
yeah.
just released his last studio album this year, so like, I don't know if he's gonna be tired or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, like his music is meant for the sex music. You know,
Yeah.
sex music, R&B, just like straight up like love songs.
Can we say sex on this podcast?
No.
But you can beat that.
I'm just joking.
Songs to make love.
Songs that make you love, you know, that can be
Yeah.
my fault. But like,
No, I'm just joking. But yeah.
but yeah, that's like my main influence. I mean, his love songs, like I don't care about the songs to make love, but just like his love songs, like just about like I love you, I miss you type of stuff. Like I always loved that. So that's my main influence.
Right.
Now, the way that I write my music is based on his composing and writing style. Because he uses some crazy chords, you know, substitutions that I want to bring to my music. Now, Mark Anthony, in the other case, he's like the king of salsa. Like he's known for salsa since the 1990s till now. Like he's on the top. I don't think anybody could dethrone him at the moment. There's a lot of great salsa composers and singers, but he's like the main one. People be like, Mark Anthony, you know who he is.
Yeah.
Americans know who he is. You know, they know who he is. So, you know, I grew up with his music as well. You know, my mother would be cleaning in the morning and Mark Anthony would be playing as well once in a while.
I mean, it was like you're Hispanic in New York, you can't.
Exactly.
You can't not.
Yeah, he's from New York, he's from the Bronx. You know, so you cannot not listen to Mark Anthony. Any Hispanic party, his music is going to be played there. So he's an influence, but he's not like my main influence. My main influence has never come really from any people in my genre. It's always people from outside genres, either jazz, R&B, funk, you know, that's usually where it comes from. And then, knowing how I want my salsa to sound, then I write it into a salsa, funky tune that is different than what's being heard on the radio.
Interesting. So you just take from like different genres to put into your own music.
Yeah, pretty much. I take the stuff that I learned in college, the theory, the songs that I've heard from Brian McKnight or ballads from Spanish singers, and then I put it into the genre that I love, which is salsa.
Nice. That's actually really cool. And the follow-up is like, yeah, so, I mean, I think you touched on it like a little bit, but how do you think your music, like what direction do you think your music will like go into from now?
From now?
Yeah.
Well, right now I'm focusing a lot on releasing more songs like that one. English salsa, to be specific. That's my main thing.
Wow.
Evolving, I mean, I would love to have a bigger production team behind me, you know, so it could just be pushed out there so people can know who I am and what I do as a composer and a songwriter. Not much as an artist, because I'm not usually the one singing. I'm usually getting somebody else, which kind of makes me a producer in that sense as well. You know, not like a making beats producer, but, you know, producing an actual song with live instruments. But But yeah, evolving right now. I'm just trying to release more music the way that I'm doing right now. I have one coming up in a couple of months as well. So yeah, it's just making more salsa music in different styles, either dancing, either adding more funk to it, or making it like very, very soft.
So are you just trying to get like people who don't speak Spanish into salsa music? Is that what the thing is?
I had this thing a couple of years ago where, because a lot of these songs that I'm about to release, I wrote like in 2016, 2017. A couple I released, I wrote this year, but a lot has been coming, just been preparing for this moment. And I remember in the beginning, I was like, I just want to get an English-speaking singer, not a Spanish-speaking, singer. Just because when I first, discovered English salsa, because I'm not the first, obviously. There's a lot from before. But they were all Spanish singers that were big in the salsa genre, singing Spanish, and most likely their producer or record label was like, oh, let's make an English track.
Right.
And then when you hear it, you hear the accent, the Spanish accent. And I like the song, the arrangement, but not that much the vocals. For me, it never sounded clear. Amazing songs, but my thing was, if I get an English-speaking singer, right, that's performing and doing her thing, to sing an English salsa, maybe it might resonate more to the kids growing up right now in this generation. A lot of the Latinos from New York or in America, born in the 2000s, they most likely know more English than Spanish. Right? I was born in 96, came in 2003. I speak more English than Spanish as well, even though I know more Spanish. But imagine the kids born in 2005. Most likely they'll speak more English and 10% Spanish. So that's my thinking. If I'm able to write songs with a nice, clear English-speaking singer,
it still has the roots of their culture.
With the culture and the line, they might like it. At least I'm hoping that later on people might like what I'm doing.
That's very interesting, because I've never heard kind of the reasoning for kind of I don't know, English-sizing, I don't know how you say it, but kind of doing that more as an altruistic type of thing, rather than kind of a money-making thing. Because English-speaking artists will usually, or they probably speak both languages, but they just release alternate language versions just for sake of money. But I really appreciate you and you thinking way beyond that. Thinking about this current generation and just really the more how do you say, the more social or the more anthropological. Is that a word?
I don't know.
I don't know if it's but you know what I mean. I think it's really cool that you're thinking to that certain extent where other people will just think of if I make another version, I can sell it to a different market and stuff like that. So that's really cool.
What would you think for you to make a song?
Depends if I start with the melody or if I start with the song, with the lyrics. I've had a tough battle throughout the years with that, where the melodies come so easy to me. I could just be sitting down, the melody will come, I'll record it, cool. And then I'll make the whole song, the whole melody, no lyrics yet. I'd have the rhythms, all that. But now I gotta make lyrics based on the rhythm that I just did. And then I come up with nothing. Right? Yeah. So the songs that I start with, the melody first and the whole arrangement, those take years for me to finish. Whereas if I just sit down one day and I write lyrics, make sure it's good, make sure I have a story, because I like to tell stories throughout the lyrics. Make sure everything is good. Then when I sit down and make the melody, it's just, I could do that in one day. Interesting. But if I make the song and just the melody, I make the whole arrangement with the horns and everything with no lyrics, it will take me years. And I have songs right now that I've made in 2016 that still are not done.
And is that just release them just like that, or you want to just wait until the finished product's there?
Say that again, please?
Have you ever decided to just release them by themselves?
No, I know throughout the years I'll release the demos. Just oh, this is what I'm working on. But it's like the GarageBand and Logic demos that I just made. So I'll put it out there, so people could like just be like, okay, I'm still active. I know I released a jazz album in 2016,
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
and now I'm just releasing music after 4 years.
Yeah.
But throughout those 4 years, I've been releasing like little demos, just like mini demos.
Right.
And people like it. Some of them me singing, which I don't like as much, but people seem to like it as well. So yeah, it all depends. For example, this song that I just released right now, it was lyrics first, and then the melody.
That's very cool, yeah. So, I mean, this is a podcast called Sounds Like NYC. So going back to the conversation about the reason why you want to release your music in English and stuff like that. But more specifically, how do you think the Heights, Washington Heights has changed over the course of your life, because just like how do you think
Just like was 2003, right?
I came in 2003.
Yeah.
I don't have much memory that I remember from the Heights, except for, at least in that area, time, 2003, except for me probably getting lost once, or thinking that I got lost. Well, I didn't get lost. I was literally a block away from my house.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just cleaner. I like the Heights. I mean, it is being gentrified, or gentrified? No, it's gentrified, right?
Gentrified,
It is being gentrified, but to be honest, I'm fine with that. A lot of people don't like it, but at the end of the day, it's just business to the city. So I'm not going to stress about that. It's going to be gentrified, and if you want to stay, work hard and maintain your place. Because a lot of people get kicked out for no reason, and now they're homeless. So it is cleaner. It is a better place to live in. I'm sure the crime is still there, but I look past that.
Okay. Nice.
I know it's a different take.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know a lot of people hate it.
Yeah.
Usually in the Heights, you got Broadway right in the middle, and then you have like Bennett, Fort Washington, or before Tryon. That's usually Jewish people living there, Americans and Jewish. Once you go to the other side of Broadway, you have a lot of Hispanics there. So now they're like kind of moving towards, you have your Shiva University right up there. So a lot of college students are moving in, and they're trying to kick other Hispanics out to the Bronx or to Brooklyn or anywhere else, So it is being changed, but I think it's being changed for the better.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to leave with?
Say that again?
Is there anything you want to end this interview with? You got anything in the works right now, or?
I wanted to ask him about his time in Berkeley and kind of
Oh, we didn't touch on that.
Yeah, Boston compared to New York City in terms of just everything because I was interested because we were talking before we started recording about kind of Berkeley and how many people don't even stay there for the whole 4 years and stuff like that. But yeah, please talk about kind of your experience in Berkeley and how it compares, in terms of living there and also as a musician, how it compares to a life in New York City.
Man, I love Berkeley. I'm not gonna lie. Actually, Berkeley was my dream college since 6th grade because my teacher graduated from Berkeley. So that was just always I wanted to go there. Once I got accepted, it was like I'm out of New York. I mean, New York, especially in the Heights, it feels claustrophobic to me. Just all these buildings everywhere to a small kid. It's it was.
All right.
David is very defensive about this.
I don't think.
Let us think.
I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Let us
No, it's not a bad thing. But when I went to Boston, it was very refreshing because it's like a more.
Fuck Boston.
David, we need this for the clip. Let him speak. Continue.
People that clip I fucking hate Boston.
Word?
Yeah.
I want to know why.
Huh?
I want to know why.
No, I just.
Anyway, so.
Oh yeah,
Understand what it is in New York City.
Boston is a more laid back New York, and that's what I needed in my life. I'm very quick. I walk fast. I'm a New Yorker in every sense. I walk fast. I talk fast. I mind my own business. That's it. Once I'm in Boston, it's like, okay, it kind of feels like Central Park-ish area. you know, where you still have all those buildings, but you have more trees to walk, to walk around. Now that's me compared to the heights.
Trees are overrated.
Trees, it's good to smell it. It's good to smell the trees and actually have more air go through the buildings than getting blocked by the buildings. So I like Boston. That's still my number one city for me.
Interesting.
I would love to move to Boston, but still the music and the gigs they're in New York. So I'm blessed and lucky that I was raised in New York and I am from New York, right? But if I had no other choice, I'd go to Boston right now and stay there, But Berkeley,
David, people have different opinions than you. Let him be.
Listen, you can have an opinion even if it's wrong, and it's completely fine.
Oh man, I'm in this room. I gotta switch my opinion.
Continue. So,
But yeah, I love Berkeley. I mean, everything that I knew about Berkeley before going to Berkeley was true.
Like what?
Well, like I was mentioning to you before, like if I decided to go to Juilliard or Oberlin Conservatory, which I also auditioned to and I got waitlisted, and then got accepted. After I accepted Berkeley, it was like, wow. I probably would have just been doing straight jazz right now, just jazz drumming. But once I went to Berkeley, my first week, I met a bunch of musicians. We made an acid funk band. It was like my first, it was called OK Dank. OK Dank, yeah. And we made this crazy band, it was way out of, so different than what I did. So just starting from day one, it was like, I'm learning new stuff. I got into smooth jazz. I started doing more like Robert Glasper-ish type stuff, more like D'Angelo type stuff, stuff that I never did before. So I'm glad that I chose Berkeley. I'm glad that I was able to put my hands into different genres and learn different stuff over there. So yeah, I love it.
A lot of dickheads over there.
Sure.
Like a lot of dickheads, like just dickhead musicians.
Yeah. That's how
Like a percentage, like 90%, 95%.
I don't know. I'm actually glad that all the people that I met over there were humble. And me, like if I don't like you, I'm just not gonna talk to you. It's very easy for me to ignore a person like this. Like you could be so close, and then once I see something I don't like, and you don't address it, like that's it. Don't expect anything from me.
Right.
So other people that I will see that they could be a dickhead to somebody else, I don't associate myself.
Right.
So other people that I met, other people in my dorm, I love them, and I still speak to them to this day. And I kind of stay with my own little circle over there. Right. I did my own thing. Like I said, the people that did performance majors probably knew more people. At least that's my take. Because they were all like in different ensembles, this and that. But if you did something else, you kind of were in your own lane.
Cool.
Interesting, yeah.
But yeah, Boston is the city, man.
Boston is a city.
Oh,
So yeah, I think we need to cut it just because the cameras are gonna cut off pretty soon. It's been almost an hour. So, what do you want to leave with? Like, what's your final words?
No, so yeah, I mean, thank you guys for inviting me here. I was very surprised when you guys sent me the message and allowed me to be on your playlist. And it's nice to have support, especially from New York. That's where you're from. But yeah, next month I will be releasing another song on October 22nd, which is my birthday as well.
Oh, awesome.
That's my own little gift as well for myself. Releasing another song, another English salsa song with another amazing singer. So yeah, just be in tune for that. I'll be posting more stuff on my Instagram. And yeah, everybody make sure to follow Sounds Like NYC. They have some great content over there.
I like that.
Thank you very much.
Like you guys always
Plugging ourselves.
Make me forget the whole Boston thing.
well, I'm speaking to the content king over
There
here,
you
right?
go. That's what I'm
Right?
saying.
Right? That's what it is.
That's what